no primer, and scratch resistant? In this video, let's put the new GPaint V2 to the test. This video is sponsored by Supernova Studio, South Africa's favorite art, craft and hobby store. Check them out if you're in South Africa. Hi creatives, Jeff of Kelga Creations here. Now, before we get into the review of GPaint V2, I want to first clarify that I am a member of Studio G's GSquad, and I was sent with the set of GPaint V2. However, I was not instructed on what I should create in terms of content or what I should say. Ultimately, good work should speak for itself. Hence, I created my last build using GPaint V2 for a video showcasing the result. You can check out the video by clicking on the card on the top right corner now. I'll also link it in the description below. Now, I'm going to break the video into interactive chapters so that you can either jump ahead or easily rewind back to certain sections. Firstly, what is GPaint and what do you get in the ultimate starter pack? Secondly, I'll be putting it to the test in terms of scratch and masking resistance against other brands and other types of model paints. Thirdly, my thoughts and impressions. And finally, is GPaint V2 for you? Should you try it? And where to get it? With that laid out, let's get into the video. So firstly, what is GPaint V2 and what makes it unique compared to other model paints out there? It is the version 2 of GPaint developed by Justin of Studio G. Through personal conversation with Justin, the story of the original GPaint and why it was created in 2020 was to solve a problem that he had. Due to the fact that it was based in Philippines, imported paints and supplies are not as easily accessible and affordable. As a builder and a video creator, creating new builds and videos for every 2 weeks, he needed a good supply of paint that does not compromise quality and fast drying to keep up with these schedules. So he developed a set of 8 lacquer paints covering the basic colors that allowed him to mix his own colors instead of buying bottles and bottles of different colors. The large volume of 65ml bottles make them last longer. The paints are pre-thinned and come in twist cap bottles with mixing balls for easy and quick operation. At the time, it solved this problem and was a successful product, especially to new painters with its ease of use design. In early 2021, he was faced with another challenge that he wanted to solve. Last year, due to the global pandemic, people were at home more, spending more time with model kit hobby, which he, some friends I know, and myself included, found that certain supplies was running out of stock due to global demand and issues with supply chains. And one of those supplies are primers. That was the new challenge he aimed to solve. Primers and the priming process is the foundation of any good painted model. It provides a better surface for the paint to grip on. By combining properties of primer and achieving strong finish that's scratch resistant, the new GPaint was developed. It allowed him to leap over the priming process and go directly spraying on the bare plastic, resulting in speeding up his build production time. Plus, no paint scratching off from posing the kits for his videos. With GPaint V2, not only the formula has been upgraded, but also the packaging itself as well. Included are the stickers just like the original GPaint, and also a welcome card plus a basic color mixing guide. Okay, story time over, let's get some paint action going. GPaints are easy to use. Before the first time, be sure to remove the protective seals. Give them a good shake, they mix quickly with the ball inside each bottle. Then just twist the cap, squeeze and paint. Can't get easier than that. Here are the 8 colors of GPaint V2. Primary colors, black, white, red, yellow and blue. Then special colors of Zaku green, gunmetal and dark iron. Zaku green is great for, well, Zakus, Xeon suits and other military applications. If you want regular green, just mix 50-50 of yellow and blue. Gunmetal and dark iron are metallic colors, great for weapons, inner frames and mechanical parts. It is the same paint range as the original GPaint, just further improved formulation in the finish, and doesn't need a priming step beforehand. These are the paints I'll be testing against: Vallejo and Tamiya as acrylic based, Mr. Color and the original GPaint for lacquer based. I have washed these plastic teaspoons beforehand to make sure they're clean of any residue. I'll mask half of a spoon to be bare plastic, the other half I'll prime with Mr. Hobby's Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 Grey and Vallejo's acrylic black primer for the Vallejo paint. After about an hour, I unmask and I spray the paints on the spoons and will scratch test the paints on the bare plastics and the primed side. Alright, all done. So it's been about an hour. On the left here we've got Vallejo's Model Air Red, Tamiya's Flat Red, Mr. Color's Glass Red, GPaint V1's Red, GPaint V2's Red, and also I just, for sake of testing, I mixed 50-50 of the GPaint V1 Blue and GPaint V2's Red, just to test how well the scratch resistant will be, because keep in mind, GPaint V1 does not have primer properties. And I'll be scratching with just the general toothpicks. So keep in mind, the left side of the spoon is unprimed, the right side is primed. Okay, you can kind of clearly see that it's getting affected by the scratches. If you go a bit harder, there you go, and then you can see it's getting lifted. Both the primer and the paint's getting lifted. Yeah, with Tamiya, it's much more resistant to scratching, but you can still see the marks. Mr. Color, yeah, the unprimed side, it's getting scratched pretty easily. But if it's primed, it's doing generally okay. I'm actually quite surprised about Tamiya's one. Let's go back. So even unprimed, it's doing fairly well. Obviously, yeah, on the corners there, on the edges of these spoons, yeah, it's getting lifted. Okay, and GPaint V1. Also lacquer base, just like Mr. Color, holds up pretty well. You can see there on the edge of the spoon, it's getting scratched. Okay, alright. And GPaint V2, it's actually the quietest out of them all, because it actually has less resistance. And just glides over the paint pretty well. Yeah, even on the unprimed side, hardly anything. On primed, nothing. So yeah, I can hardly even see any scratches. It's pretty crazy. Okay, and this is the hybrid, mixing 50-50 of the V1 and V2 of the GPaints. That's alright. Oh, okay, look, if I really push, then it starts to scratch. Understandable, because you are like diluting the primer properties of the V2 with the V1 that it has no primer properties. So just go back and check. Okay, Vallejo, yeah, I would say it's the weakest of them all. Tamiya, yeah, I'm actually quite surprised by Tamiya's acrylic paint, but yeah, their acrylic is a hybrid. Mr. Color, yeah, if it's primed, generally it does alright. But yeah, the unprimed side, you can see, gets lifted. Okay. V1. GPaint V1. Sure makes a lot of squeaky sounds, huh? And then GPaint V2. It's the quietest of them all. It just glides over. Yeah. I'm really pushing here. Can kind of see some scratches, but it's not lifting off the plastic. There you go. Pretty amazing. Okay, let's not forget, let's do some masking tape tests. The editing magic, they're being all taped up, and let's get ready for peeling. Starting off with Vallejo. Pretty clean. Yeah. Generally, I don't think masking tape should be an issue as long as you let the paint cure nicely. Range. Missed the color. Okay, some got peeled off, but I think that's around where I scratched off. Okay, GPaint V1. Oof. Yeah, I got peeled off pretty easily. But yeah, generally you want to like take a day to let the paint cure before you do any masking. Plus, look, if you look at the primed side, it doesn't get lifted. So this is very like the importance of priming. And GPaint V2. Okay, it's a no-brainer. If the paint doesn't even get scratched off, then tape is the least of your worries. And GPaint V1 and V2 mixed together. Yeah, also. Yeah, where it got peeled off is where I was scratching earlier. But generally, it's still alright. But yeah, ultimately, look at GPaint V2. With no priming, no issues with scratching and masking. And when it's primed, don't even mention it. Cool. Alright, here's my thoughts and impressions. I'm really impressed by GPaint V2's performance. The fact that it doesn't require a primer process beforehand allows me to work faster. The 65ml bottles allows me to mix my own colors and lasts me a number of projects. I would recommend ordering 2 or 3 more extra bottles of the black and white, as these colors are more commonly used when it comes to mixing custom paints. Not to mention, I save on supplies such as thinners and primers, as GPaint V2 is pre-thinned and has primer properties. So, is GPaint V2 for you? Should you try it? I would honestly say definitely. If you're new to painting model kits or considering of starting, this box is all you need to start your painting journey. It's so easy to just jump in and develop the experience of the actual creative process of painting without worrying too much of the technical learnings of priming, thinning, and spending more on other products just to get started. And if you're an experienced painter, it will either speed up your workflow or offer you a solution if you run out or are low on primers. For those of you that have an original GPaint, don't throw them away. They're still great, you just need to keep in mind of priming your kits beforehand. As you saw in my demonstration earlier, personally I would not recommend mixing the original GPaint and GPaint V2, as that would dilute GPaint V2's priming properties, unless you're spraying on a kit that's already been primed. Then it's fine. Now, where can you get GPaint V2? They are now widely available in a number of countries. In the US, you can get them from New Type. In Canada, you can get them from Canadian Gundam. It is even available in South Africa from Supernova Studio. Check out Studio G's website for more information on GPaint V2 and what countries and retailers are stocking them. Links in the description below. Over time, I'm confident that the list of retailers stocking GPaint V2 will continue to grow, so check if you can get them locally and support your local hobby stores. Otherwise, you can buy from Studio G's website and use my promo code Kelga Creations to get 5% off. So, what do you guys think? Have you already used the new GPaint V2 or even the original GPaint? And if you haven't, do you have interest now? I would love to read your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you for watching my video. Give it a like if you found it valuable, subscribe and ring the notification bell to be posted on my future videos. Until next time, happy painting and keep creating!
Hey, okay, well, I don't know if you can hear my compressor in the background. Dude, I really love this stuff. It's very good paint. Oh my god. Like, wow. It's really good stuff. I think I'm gonna go and buy that beginner set now. Because, yeah, I just hit, I unprimed, I hit a spoon and I hit a Coca-Cola lid with no primer. And I did like a soft pass, you know, like so holding the airbrush at like half and whatever's, and you get like a nice sort of satiny kind of coat and it looks good. And then I just let it rip, you know, like went hard and let it be wet and whatever's, and it seems to be drying to a beautiful candy finish. I am so happy with this shit. My god, this stuff is fucking amazing. Sorry, I hope you're not in polite company, but my word, that's amazing. This is incredible paint. This guy, yeah, I don't know, they must use like unicorn blood when they make this stuff, because it is well worth it. And 200 bucks for a bottle of 65 mils is actually quite cheap if you consider how much you pay for everything else. Wow. Sorry, dude, I had to voice note you for this. It's wow.